There's somebody in the marketplace right now who needs my help. My job is to find it. Once you understand this, I could sell anything. I could sell software and I'd be a rock star at it. I could sell real estate, be a rock star at it. Because most people, what they do is they lean more on product knowledge, thinking that's going to help them sell. Like geeking out about product while I'm selling a bunch of stuff. What I'm really searching for are problems. When I reach out, it's like, what's the problem somebody has? And I keep asking questions to identify the problem. You're not going to call anybody, bro?
No, I'm really impressed. I didn't come prepared to call people.
Come on, man. What's to prepare? We're here. This is the best place to do it.
You're watching other people first.
Who are you reaching out to? This is exactly what I was talking about. Do an admin first?
Like me to do this time, like, I'm obviously.
Well, can you make a list of people that you know?
So
because I know you've moved here from another area, but
Yeah.
anybody that you know, anybody that you've already engaged with, any other business owners that you've connected with, your girlfriend knows people.
This is what we used to do for agents in Denver, where I'm David Shimoni here with eXp Realty, and here we are at Luigi's Italiana, and you do this fantastic cinematic short video for that business. And it's not the only thing, but it's part of one of the things I wanted to do to build my own personal brand.
Which I think is great.
Yeah, it's one of the elements, right? It's one of the elements.
I think
but
it's like
using the tool that I already have.
Yes,
it's strong.
It's strong. It's a good tool. You have the kind of production. My experience is that usually takes a lot of time to produce fruit, where people start to reach out to you.
Yeah.
So I feel like
it's a long term. It's more.
Yes.
More of a marathon. I
that's
get it.
like
But building up that channel of when people come to certain areas.
In my mind, I'm thinking like that's a long-term strategy.
Yeah, for sure. It's a marathon. Yeah.
What I would also do is have CTAs, call to actions. So like if you want to learn more about, buying real estate, if you're in Hollywood or wherever you are, doing like I'm here with the guy who owns whatever here in Hollywood. If you want to learn more about real estate in Hollywood, DM me the word buy or DM me the word sell. You can use ManyChat, which I'm sure you're familiar with.
Yeah.
And then what I'll do is that'll take a link to your Calendly where they can book a call.
Nice.
So now I'm using it as actually, instead of just like general awareness.
Yeah, sure.
Now it's a mechanism for actually producing leads. And that would be one of the things we're doing. Yeah. The second thing that we can do is this.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Because this leads to immediate.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
No. I was just thinking, it's so funny because I would always push it with agents like, why don't they do this more? Because they have so, these businesses, and you go after popular businesses, not just like any, they don't have much followers. You target people that have a ton of followers, make them a fantastic video that they're constantly pushing. You know what I mean? So again, it's just parts of these.
So when you go visit them, I would get a CRM. We use Follow Up Boss. Follow Up Boss, customer relation management software. So when you go there, get their name, phone number, email address. And then what you can start to do is once a month, a video market update.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hey guys, this is Aaron here. Just want to give you an update with what's going on in the real estate market. Obviously, if you got any questions, if you need my help, here's my cell phone number. Let's get into the numbers. So this month in Broward County, here's what's happening. Listings, blah, blah, blah. Here's what's happening with interest rates. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. So now you're touching them 12 times a year.
Right.
Because you're doing that once a month. Right. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And then you do it. Then you call them once a quarter. Hey, remember we did that video for you? How'd it do for you? Did it bring in business for you?
Right.
I'm so glad that it was helpful or useful to you. Right. I'm aware as a business owner, you know a lot of people. So I'd love to be like, do you have like a preferred vendor in terms of real estate agents that like you refer to friends and family? Because I'd love to be on that list, right? So now that's 3 touches. No, 4, excuse me, because you're doing that 3 times a year.
Right.
Or every quarter. So you're doing it 4 times a year. So now we're up to 12 plus 4 is 16. Then you can do an event once a year or twice a year. Like a past client-centered appreciation event where you get them together, you do something cool. So I have a client in Massachusetts. She'll do 40 million this year in volume in sales. One of the things she did is she rented out, when Taylor Swift had her thing, she rented out the movie theater. She had 100 people show up, her past clients with their kids. The other thing she did is when The Little Mermaid came out, she did the same thing. She had like 80 families show up. What we're going to do at the end of this year is she lives in a place where people ski. She rents out the ski lift for the day. Everybody gets hot chocolate. They get like Raya's team beanies.
That's cool.
Yeah. So now we have a comprehensive multiple touch program to extract as much as we can out of that.
Right.
And for most agents, I mean, you're different in the sense you have like another business, but like most agents need money right now.
Yeah.
And this will also help you to cut your teeth to really learn procedurally prospect. When I book the appointment, how to pre-qualify the appointment fully. So when somebody says, hey, I want to sell my house, you're like, great, I'll see you at 3. No.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I have a handful of questions I'd like to ask just to make sure that I'm fully prepared and I can provide you with the most accurate information.
Right.
Be the best assistance to you. I'll be brief because I know your time is valuable. Notice I wasn't like, is now a good time? Because you're going to say, no.
Yeah.
And then I got to follow you down. And then I can ask a bunch of questions like, your home's lovely. It's in a great geographic area. If you don't mind me asking, was there any particular reason you were even considering selling it? I'm looking for your motivation, your motive to take action. Because if you're like, yeah, I just want a bigger backyard for my puppy. No, it's not motivated enough.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like, yeah, I got a new job. Okay, I appreciate, congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious because my job's to help you. It's never to talk you into doing anything. Is it an option for you to not sell the home and still move? Like maybe rent it out or keep it as a secondary home? I need to know that. Because if you run out there and go talk to them, he'll tell you that on the spot.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're like, bro, I just spent like 3 hours preparing for this thing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I've only spoken to you. You seem to be pretty excited. I'm noticing here there's somebody else on title to the property.
You're almost giving them an out before you even make the appointment, right? You're saying, tell me no now. That way I don't waste the time. And that, well, to a certain extent, right?
Yeah.
It's one of the things that I was learning from those Brandon videos. But what's that? Millionaire?
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. So, and me and him both did the same thing, which is this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the specialized knowledge. It's like, and then also, hey, I've only spoken to you. There's somebody else on title to the property.
Mm-hmm.
How do they feel about the move? Because you know how many times I've been on appointments where the wife's like, we're moving. The husband's like this. As soon as I sit down, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Have you done any major modifications or changes that you think would affect its value? Examples being kitchens, bathrooms, and flooring. Because then I'm going to ask you, you strike me to be someone who's pretty savvy. I'm sure you've gone online and looked at some of these estimates of value. Did you have an idea at all of realistically what you were considering listing the home for? Why do I want to know that? Because if you're in outer space, that's a problem.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah? And then if you don't give me the information, you're like, well, just like tell me. It's like, well, I appreciate that. Just so you know, my intention in asking, it's not to be nosy. It's also not to negotiate with you. It's really just to gauge your expectation because sometimes homeowners' expectations aren't in alignment with market conditions. So I'm looking here at one of these sites that give estimates of value. They were saying 650. Is that like in the ballpark of what you were thinking? So I just ask it in a different way. And then you're like, yeah, that's about right. Or you might be like, no, that's way too low. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing a net sheet for you. So that way you can see dollars and cents what the proceeds would be when it all shakes out. So I can do that properly and professionally. Is there anything still owed on the property? Any liens, any encumbrances, any, special assessments, second mortgages? And they're like, no, it's free and clear. Okay. And then are you interested in acting like a bank and holding a note for a new buyer? Do you just want from me to help you get all the cash out? Like, no, I think we just want to get cash out. But look, that was an assumptive close. Who's going to get the cash out? Me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you plan on making any change or modifications before I start to bring buyers through? Do you just want me to help you sell it as it is, where it is?
Right. Obviously, there's a lot there that you just unpack. But like,
you see, there's a complete method to what we're doing.
But each section of what you were saying has its own.
Yeah, and then as you know, like right now, the main way that we make decisions is we go online.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if you and your girlfriend are out, like if we went out to dinner and we don't know where to go, where do we go first? We don't stop somebody in the street and be like, hey, where should I go? No, you go to your phone. And then we look at what? Reviews, pictures, videos. That's who gets the $200 check. So we should be reverse engineering that. So having a Google My Business page with reviews. And what I would say to you on the phone is like, hey, I'm aware that I'm just a voice over the phone. So in the email that I'm going to send you, in the signature of my email, there'll be a link to our website, which you can check out, put a face to the name. There's also a link to all of my personal reviews online. We have the good fortune. We have almost 500 5-star reviews from families that we've helped from start to finish get the most. Yeah. So I encourage you to take a look at a few of those in preparation for connecting, just to get a feel and a flavor for the service and results we provide. Sure. Does that sound okay?
Absolutely.
But why? I'm reverse engineering. I know that's how you make decisions. I'm just going to push you towards it. Mm-hmm. And then, hey, I've asked you a bunch of questions. Do you have any questions for me? You're probably going to say, what's your commission? Well, I appreciate you asking. The professional fee is one of the tools that we use to market the property. So we'll go over the options that you have because I want you to feel comfortable with the one we end up choosing. I promise you this, it's not going to be a reason why we don't do business. I'm sure we'll come up with something that's mutually beneficial to all parties. So I've signaled to you I'm open. But the moment that I say to you what it is, they're going to start to shop it. Does that make sense?
Right.
I want to have that conversation with you in person. And then, hey, at the end, this is critical. You strike me to be someone who's very straightforward and to the point. I'm the same way. So based on what you've been kind enough to share with me, you guys have definitely decided that you're going to sell. It's not a question of if, it's just when and who's going to help you. So when we do connect, if it all makes sense, you feel comfortable and confident with me that I can help, you feel comfortable and confident with me that I can help, You do that due diligence. You check me out online. You see track record and reviews. Do you think you would be open to the possibility of hiring me to help when I see you tomorrow at 6? You're either going to say yes, no, or what?
So this is all still on the phone. This is before.
100%.
Yeah.
You're either going to say yes, no, or what? Maybe.
Yeah.
No matter if you say yes, I do the happy dance. Yay. If you say no or maybe, that's okay. I know this is a big decision. You want to make sure you're making the best decision possible. So what I'll do is I'll bring with me the market analysis so we can determine together as a team how we need to position the property to make sure we maximize value and get top dollar. I'll also bring with me the appropriate paperwork. So if it all makes sense and you do feel comfortable, confident, we can get started. Does that sound fair?
Yeah. And while you're also preparing them, that there may be something to sign.
Oh, I'm completely setting the expectation.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
What was the first thing you said? Like CMA? I didn't know what you said.
Well, yeah. So what I'll do is I'll bring with me
CMA.
the competitive market analysis, right? So we can determine together as a team what would be the most amount we could expect to receive,
It shows sales that you prepared.
and net bottom line what the proceeds would be. I'll also bring with me the appropriate listing paperwork. So if it all makes sense and you feel comfortable, confident, we can take the next steps. Does that sound fair? Perfect. But it's all leading to somebody being open to my request when I make it, because I'm going to make it. Yeah.
Right.
Now, before I go on the appointment, I need to send an email. What I do is immediately after I send the appointment, there's a software called BombBomb.
Okay.
It's a video software. It's integrated into my CRM. So as soon as I hang up the phone, I push a little button. Video comes up on the screen. I say like this, hey, I wave because it has a, like an automated thumbnail, like automation or animation where like I can go like, if I go like this, the way it shows up in your email is me going like this. And I say, hey there, this is Aaron. I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time to speak with me. I know your time is valuable. Having heard the story and what you're looking to accomplish with this move to Texas, I feel supremely confident that provided the opportunity, we can help you net the most and do it quickly and efficiently. So as promised, myself and team and staff, we're going to be doing a lot of homework. We're going to send you an email to this email address. In that email, there'll be that market analysis that we'll be reviewing together as a team. And then I'll also bring with me, again, the appropriate documentation. So if it all makes sense and you feel comfortable and confident, we can take the next steps. So in the meantime, if you have any questions or concerns for me, here's my personal cell phone. It's blankety blank. Otherwise, thanks for taking the time to watch this. Thanks for taking the time to speak to me. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 6. How many people do that? 0. I'm sending myself in the digital form so you can interact with me before I actually see you. So that way, when we meet, guess how you feel? You already know me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Then they get an email that has a PDF for the market analysis, and it has a pre-listing package. That's a little bit about you. Like, here's our plan of action. Here's what we're going to be doing to sell the home. Here's some reviews, right? Then assistant calls to confirm, and I go on the appointment. But you see how all of this is set up to increase the probability? My listing ratio is like 87%. So when I go on a listing appointment, 87% of the time they sign it. But because it's all purposely crafted towards that end. And then when I go on the appointment, most people just wing it. No structure, no plan. I'm completely
on that personal connection, which
it's immature.
Yeah.
What I tell people is I'm like, hey, let's operate under the assumption you're not that cool.
Yeah.
Let's operate under that assumption.
You feel like somebody's not ready yet. You say, okay, well,
Yeah, so here's what's cool is like, and it's cool because these are a lot of your, and I mean this lovingly. I hope you know that. Like, know my heart on it. I'm not trying to be like a jerk. A lot of your questions are about like people pushing back.
I'm looking on the side. I'm looking at the devil's advocate.
Yeah, so if somebody says I'm not ready yet, it's like, yeah, that's cool. My job's to help you. It's never to talk to you or do anything.
They say they're ready, but you feel they're not ready. You feel you're wasting your time going down there. Would you just tell them I'm wasting my time, or would you just come over?
No, I would know in pre-qual.
Yeah.
So if they're being like, what I would say to them is like, if let's say I'm feeling that, I'm like, hey, you know what? Sometimes when I connect with people, they offer to meet because they're just being kind. Other times they're genuinely interested in actually getting their home on the market for sale. Just so I'm clear, which one is it for you? The thing that makes sales kind of squishy and uncomfortable is a lack of straightforwardness, clarity. Just tell me. Like when I met my wife, I took her on a date, right? We had a great time. I dropped her off. She's like, hey, call me next time you want to hang out. I said, no. She was like, what? I'm like, yeah, I've called you multiple times. Clearly I'm interested. I don't want to be your friend. So the next time you want to hang out, call me. And I drove away. Why? I was looking for, what are we doing?
No, you want to know if she likes you too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Clarity.
Yeah.
Which is the same thing I'm saying to him, isn't it? So she didn't call me for a week. So I was like, oh man, I just got tried by an 18-year-old, right? But then a week later, she calls me. When she calls me, I'm like, okay, this is like, wrap it up. It's done. because now she's clearly stating, I am equally as interested in you. And it's the same, that's, right? So yeah, and then when I go on the listing presentation, it's all scripted. So, hi, when I hit the door, hey, how you doing, Aaron Novello? I had to train myself because I would show up like this. Like, I'm here to do business. I had to smile like, hey, how you doing? Aaron Novello, nice to meet you. Did you want to take my shoes off? And they're like, oh, no, it's fine. Now, if you notice shoes are lined up against the wall, take your shoes off. Even if they say, no. I'm just being respectful of your space. So what I'd like to do is just take a quick look around the home. Would that be okay? What am I doing right away? Taking control. Somebody's going to be in control.
Yeah.
If they're in control, it'll be haphazard all over the place, right? And they're like, yeah, that's fine. Okay, great. Well, the first thing I'm noticing is that the home is really tastefully furnished. So when we have offers come in, are we going to be including the contents, or do you want to take that with you to your next destination? When who has offers come in? We. I'm assumptively closing, right? And they're like, no. Like, I think we want to take it with us. Okay, great. I'll make a note of that. And then as they're walking me through the home, and if I remember correctly, you were kind enough to share with me that you don't plan on making any major changes or modifications before I start to bring buyers through. You just want me to help you to sell it as it is, where it is. Is that right? Before who? How many times do you have to ask for something before somebody says yes? Statistically, 7. The year is like, my son's 13, yeah, so 2010. We were doing a lot of transactions, like probably like 89, chugging towards 100. My wife's pregnant, and she happens to be our operations manager, which is dope because I don't have to pay her. I realize there's going to be some friction, because when your operations manager is pregnant and about to have a child, and I don't have anybody else to help me, that creates a problem. And yet I was resisting fixing the problem. Anybody besides me ever know they need to do something and they resisted doing it? Yeah, see lots of heads nodding. Yeah. What I was doing was 2 things. The first one was stalling. I knew there was something that needed to be done, but I was afraid. The second one, for anybody who speaks Spanish, I was being tacaño, which is another way of saying what? Cheap! I didn't want to spend any money. Do I have any other cheapskates in the room? Yes? Everybody should be raising your damn hand, okay? And I didn't know what to do. I knew something needed to be done, but I didn't know what to do. So what I did is and it also wasn't acceptable for me to go backwards, for me to do less. So what I did is I went out and got a really good guide, somebody who had already been through that before, to ask him, what should I be doing right now? He said, the first thing is if you want to stay married, you need to hire somebody, okay? And then he gave me SOPs on how to hire that person. He gave me guidance on what to pay them, right? And now I no longer worry about things like that, as we have an organization that's in 15 states with multiple different staff members and people that help us, and a payroll that's over 6 figures. If you understood what was keeping you stuck, you could accomplish anything that I have in probably less time. We're going to go over the 5, what I call the 5 assassins of success, or let's say the 5 assassins of progress, with the goal and objective being that once you can identify which ones or which group of assassins are getting in your way, you can unlock that unleash and get your unfair share of the business. Who's up for this? Say aye. Aye. I'm sorry, am I in the right room? Who's up for this? Say aye. Aye. That's better, okay? High energy equals high income, team. You've never met somebody who's like, aye, who makes a lot of money, I promise. Okay. So as this says here, first of all, this is the good shit, not the bullshit. Most people teach mindset because they can't teach tactics. Okay? They'll sit in a room and be like, your mind. I'm like, you're an idiot. You got to show me how to do something, bro. Like, you saying like it's all mindset is like giving me a bow and arrow and being like, go fight that war over there. You see what I'm saying? You got to equip me with what I need, right? First, let's define what we're trying to do here. Success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile goal or objective. Notice, there's some key things in this definition. Progressive. Does that mean immediate? No. How many of us get pissed off because it doesn't happen right away? Yeah. Yeah, all the time, right? It says progressive realization of a worthwhile goal. Okay? Being the best drug dealer in town is not a worthwhile goal. Right? A worthwhile goal or objective. Progress meaning forward or onward, movement toward a destination, worthwhile, worth time, money, effort spent, value, importance. Okay? Now, we can easily understand this. Now, how many people besides me have ever been given a plan, have it stared you right in the face, and did nothing with it? Yeah. Why do you think that is? You think it's because you're not smart?
I'm patient.
Oh, he said thinking.
Fear of failure.
Fear of failure, okay. What if I told you that we're not thinking beings that feel, we're feeling beings that think? What emotions get in the way from you taking action? Name them real quick.
Fear.
Fear, that's one. What else?
Laziness.
No, what else? It's not an emotion.
Fear.
Insecurity. How many people have ever hesitated about posting something because you didn't like the way you looked? Everybody should be raising their hand. You understand? It's not the technical work of how to do something that stops you. It's not knowing that you need to do something that stops. It's something internal. Is this making sense to you? Okay. The bottleneck of any business is the psychology of its owner, including mine. The bottleneck of any business is the psychology of its owner. Okay? So, let's get into these assassins. This first one is called the staller. Drags their feet when opportunities come knocking. Okay? You get invited to go do a talk. What is your initial response? I don't know, bro. Somebody invites you like, yo, this listing that's like you've never listed that price. You're like, can somebody come with me? You could attend an event, make an important contact, get on a big stage, digital or physical, to get to a bigger audience, get asked to be on a podcast, speak at an event, attend an event, with leaders around. When opportunities pop up for the staller, they never take them and they never say no. Here's my question. What emotion keeps people stuck here?
Fear.
Fear. So what I was doing, this one used to plague me all the time. So even though my wife is pregnant, I know it's coming, and yet I'm doing nothing. I'm stalling. The staller won't let you make big decisions. I made a decision, guys. I sold back my interest in a company and lost $42,000, and I had to cap twice because I had 17 pendings. Do you know that this industry is set up that's basically contractual arbitrage? They know you don't read ICAs. You don't even know what that stands for, most of you guys. Independent contractor agreements, you don't even read them. They know that. And as such, what they do, they also know that 65% of you, okay, haven't, money's a thing. So they're like, what can we do to keep people from not going, leaving? Let me keep some of their money if they leave. And they don't even realize because they didn't even read it. Isn't this fantastic? But it stops you from making, if I had allowed the staller to stop me from making this decision, we wouldn't be at 325 agents. Does that make sense? The second assassin that gets in the way is called the speed demon. The speed demon makes you believe that you progress by making decisions as quickly as possible. You hire the first person that's standing next to you, your aunt, your uncle, whoever. Oh, I need somebody. I'm in pain. This is stressful. You're a body that is breathing. Come work with me. Really fast, right? And then they forcefully, they try to pick technology and make it work because they picked it really fast. They didn't do any homework. They picked a CRM and they're like, rah, this is going to be great. I always love it when you just get overexcited about CRMs. I'm like, you realize it's not going to help you do any more business, right? You have to actually talk to people. Never taking the time to reflect on the mistakes that they're making. And then they say things like, there's no good help. You can't find good people. You know what they're really saying? I have no system for finding good people. I just hire whoever's standing next to me at the time. And I never reflect. Pain plus reflection equals progress. You know what the problem is? We never take the time to reflect. Speed demon ensures that you keep making mistakes. So here's what I want you to ask yourself. And if anybody wants to volunteer, it's cool. Is there a mistake that you keep making? What is it?
Not following up.
With?
Prospects.
Okay, so you keep making that mistake. And what is the story that you're telling yourself around follow-up?
I need new business. Go find someone else. They're not ready yet.
Got it. So underneath it is a fear that there's not enough. Did you come from an environment where there's not enough? Are you afraid of that in any way? Are you afraid of resources and needing to gather them and hoard them up?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we all are to some degree. So what I'm aware of is that fear of there not being enough and having to gather up the resources is causing me to ignore the follow-up. Meanwhile, 70% of all the appointments will come in what?
Follow-up.
Follow-up. But because I'm so I gotta go find, I'm ignoring it. So the next one is the supervisor. The supervisor won't allow you to delegate things. You'll hire a TC, but then you'll end up doing the TC's work for them. He's like, don't look at me, bro. Ah! Right? You have a full-time assistant, but you take tasks away from them versus letting them do their job. Can you see how this would impede progress? Because by the way, what do we get paid to do in this business? I know there's other businesses, but in this business, the value chain, what do we actually get paid to do? Yeah. Prospect, which leads to?
Appointments.
Yeah. Lead follow-up, which leads to? Going on appointments, which leads to?
Sign contract.
Negotiating deals, which leads to? Guys, I need you to be very clear. That is the only thing you get paid to do. Anything else that you're convincing yourself you get paid to do is not accurate. Ta-da, you notice the energy in the room? They're like, damn it. I like going to, be with the videographer when he takes the pictures. I'm like, why are you a professional photographer? What exactly are you doing there? I go to the home inspections. Why? Are you a home inspector? What are you doing there? How long could somebody stay with the supervisor wreaking havoc on them? A whole lifetime, bro. This gets in the way, the supervisor. Hovering. Here's the next one. The saver. Yep. This one affects the entrepreneur who is only saving money and not reinvesting in themselves or their business. They're stashing away a nest egg. Yep. They never invest in courses, never invest in classes, never invest in staff. Okay? Once the saver gets a hold of you, you created a false sense of security by holding a nest egg because you got a little money in the bank. Right? But our business is constantly changing and evolving. Do you know when I realized, okay, how many people besides me realize that media is a thing? Like it's like important. You should be paying attention to it. Yeah, everybody collectively realized that. How many people besides me, like I was 2 years ago, have no idea how to actually do it? Yeah, everybody's hand should be raised because you'll have like 2,000 followers, okay? It's a fact. So he's like, yeah, it's true. So I realized the same thing. I knew how to sell real estate in high volume, but I didn't understand media, but I knew it was important. See, because our boy here said when he was invited here, the person that invited me had a relationship with, the second thing he said was, I know that guy. I have seen him. That's the power of media, right? The saver tells you to save money, right? Save your money, which costs time. You agonize over a $100 purchase that could save you 10 hours. Do you know when I was in high volume selling real estate, like people be like, yo, we need condo docs. I pay somebody $100 to go get it and take it wherever they need to go versus me getting in the car. Do you realize what we did with lock boxes? Because what would happen is we'd have to pay somebody to go put it on and pay somebody to take it off. My wife, who's a genius, she said to me, hey, if we buy them on Amazon in bulk, they're only $10, and at closing, we'll just leave them there. Agents call me like, hey, you coming to walk through? Nope. What do you want me to do with this lockbox? It's my gift to you.
Take it. I like that idea.
Right? But the saver tells you like, no. You gotta not spend the money, which ends up costing you time. You agonize over small purchase. You agonize over hiring a transaction coordinator. It costs $400 a file. It'll save you like 15 hours of your life that you could be prospecting and finding more deals or shooting content or whatever. Right? It just doesn't make sense. It's an employee mentality. It's like a lower vibration, right? Now, the last one, assassin that gets in the way, is the self-medicator. The self-medicator pushes you to self-sabotage to celebrate and to self-sabotage to escape. So to celebrate, you have a really good month. You know what you do? Have a big meal, have a couple drinks, mess around, right? Go out. Yeah, we're celebrating, babe. Yeah. And then that screws up a week. Then when things don't go your way, guess what you go back to? I had a tough month. I need a drink. I need to go eat, feel better. So what does that do to people? What roller coaster do they end up on? And how much does this impede progress? Tremendously. Because you're up here and you're high and then you're like boom and you're bringing yourself back down, you're doing all this other stuff, it's throwing you off your schedule, you can't be consistent, right? Then when things aren't going good, you go back to that, which only makes it worse. Do you understand? The self-medicator sneaks up on you in the form of celebration. A night of celebration can easily turn into sleeping late, robbing you of your progress. Do you know I didn't have a TV in my house for 12 years? Do you think I was focused? Yeah. I didn't have any hobbies, bro. There's no fantasy football. No, like, chilling, dialed in. Because if you'll spend, I started when I was 26, I'm 43 now. You could literally, in this vehicle, work for 18 years, never have to work again a day in your life. But how serious are you about that? Like, well, I don't know. Right? So not only do we have like spurts of cash in this business, because most of you guys don't prospect regularly.
I think complacency.
Okay, interesting. In what way?
Complacency, like for instance, like you'll have a month that you'll make really good money.
What's really good to you? Whatever you say is fine. I'm just generally
Most
interested.
I've made?
Yeah.
37.
Okay, that's okay.
1,000
Yeah.
in 1 month.
Yeah. And now here's what's true. I think that's, how old are you?
22.
Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic for being 22. Everybody would agree? Look, boys was like, bro. All right. So, and I don't mean this in any way, shape, or form egotistical. If I made that amount of money in a month, it wouldn't be a good month. So what happens is what leads to complacency is I know at 22, you are the fastest, quickest, strongest, and you make the most money of all your peers. So do you know what that means? They all buy your bullshit. You have nobody around you that's like, bro, what are you doing? No, that is not acceptable. You could be doing twice that amount. Or no, after you made all that money and I'm gonna be playful, but I know that generation, they make that much money and they go on a trip to Costa Rica for 3 weeks. I'm like, no, that is not the fucking answer. In movies, whenever a man has a problem, where does he always end up?
Bar.
Isn't that weird? That's the message that we get. And in all of the messaging, when people are celebrating, what's present? Isn't that interesting? I think that's fascinating.
Is Aaron Novello.
Let's go. Thank you. I have a confession to make, guys. There was a time in my real estate career where I would sit in an empty house with cookies that I made, waiting for people to show up. I know, I'm not proud of this shit. I also used to wear my name tag and stomp around public smiling at people, hallucinating that someone would say, oh my God, this is so strange. I was actually thinking about selling my home. And I don't know anybody, my sister, my uncle, my cousin, my fucking next door neighbor. I know no agents. But because you have your name tag on, I feel like I can trust you and I'm gonna list my property with you. Yep, I see some heads nodding. You've done this shit too. And this last one, it's really tough. But again, I feel comfortable with you guys. I used to put my face on my yard signs like this, imagining that someone would say, oh my God, that's the most handsome realtor I've ever seen. I have to buy and sell with him. Yeah, done that, right? So, in all seriousness, what I'm aware of is that if we're utilizing strategies and tactics that was working between 2020 and 2021 that are reactive and passive, if you are waiting for people to show up, that is a weight loss program because you're not making any money. Anybody notice that the volumes dropped dramatically? Yeah, you can't tell because all you guys are posting like, happy-go-lucky on Instagram. It's all great. It's not fucking great, don't lie. The volumes dropped 30%. The cost of money's doubled in a year. Interest rates are 7.3%. They were 3% before. Okay? An $1,800 a month payment is now $3,600 a month. Is you posting on Instagram like this gonna change that? No. Write this down. When times get tough, only the skilled get paid. When times get tough, only the skilled get paid. We've moved from a speed environment, who can get to the lead the fastest gets the business, to now we are in a skilled-based environment. Whoever's the most skilled is going to get the business. Because I'm curious, with less listings, are you competing more? 100%. Right? With less opportunities, are you competing more? Yup. What do you think's going to do it? When I ask people, I'm like, what's your competitive advantage? They're like, I treat my clients right. And I'm like, that's fucking dumb. Everybody does that. Like, oh, I put my clients first. Everybody does that. Jack Welch said a long time ago, if you don't have a competitive advantage, don't compete. Okay? So as the marketplace shifts and changes, we need the right mindset, the right skills, and the right approach. So that way you can continue to get your unfair share. Who besides me is interested in their unfair share? I'm sorry, are we in the right fucking room here? Who besides me is interested in their unfair share? Because check this out, competition's good for who? The consumer. It is not good for me. I do not want to compete, I want to dominate. Make sense? Okay. Now, how do I know that this is true? How can I speak to you from a place of conviction, the same way I know the sky is blue and the grass is green? I started selling real estate in 2006, and I was being told to sit in open houses, name tag, face on yard signs. I made $13,000 my first year. Not something people would pay you to come tell you how they did that. They wouldn't put you on a panel. They definitely wouldn't invite you on a podcast, and they certainly wouldn't pay you to teach them how you made just above the poverty line. Right? The reason was I didn't have an accurate assessment of reality. I didn't understand what this game was. But once I understood that the money's not in the service, it's in the selling of the service, then it was off to the races. So let me prove my point. How many people in this room have a real estate license? Raise your hands. Okay? We can all perform the same service, correct? Do we all make the same amount of money?
No.
Why?
Everyone is different.
Nope. Some people know how to sell the service better than others. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The average real estate agent, if they go on 100 listings, they only take 20 of them. You know why? Because you guys are going in there, oh my God, you have a puppy, I have a puppy, we should be friends, yay. Yeah, I know what you guys do. Okay? When I'm going on listings, 85% of the time I take a listing. I'll make $800,000, average agent makes $47,000. What's the difference? I'm sorry? Money's clearly different, but what's leading to the money? Skills. Does that make sense? So how do I know that this is true? So I only made $13,000 that first calendar year. I got an accurate assessment. In 2007, up until April, I did 15 transactions. I was on track to do 60 deals, much better, right? And then I get a phone call while I'm prospecting. For you agents, that's where like you make outbound calls. I don't know if you guys know that. And you guys have like spidey sense where like you can feel something's wrong before you know it's wrong? Yep. Okay, I had that feeling. And I did something that if you know me very well, I would never do, which is that I actually stopped prospecting and I picked up the phone. And it was my dad. And I could tell very quickly due to his breath and what was happening that my spidey sense was accurate. My mom had just had a very intense health event that required everybody's undivided attention. He was like, hey, whatever you're doing right now, you need to stop and come home. So I did. Within 1 week, gave away all the listings, all the pendings, rented out the condo that I owned, 6 blocks from University of Florida, and I moved back home and started over from scratch. Anybody besides me ever start over from scratch before? Physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally? Is that easy? No. And then 2008 happened. Yay! How many people have been selling real estate, were selling real estate in 2008? Oh, this is fucking great. 95% of you have no idea what that was like. You think this is like a huge market disruption? Check this out. 50% of everything on the market was a short sale or foreclosure. Okay? Prices were going down 30% per year. People were having to bring money to closing to sell. The most I ever did, guy brought $100,000 to sell. Just to get rid of it. Okay? Now in that environment, after I moved back down from 2007, April, till the end of that year, did 17 deals. Next year in 2008, 50, while everything's imploding. Next year, 75. Next year, 89. Next year, 98. And the next year, 100. No short sales, no REOs, no foreclosures. One at a time. I did 100 deals one year, 75 were expired listings. Yep, you feel the energy in the room? So that's how I know emphatically what I'm saying to you is true. I didn't read this shit in a book and think it's cute. Okay? Most of you guys are used to getting talked to by people who haven't actually been highly productive. Right? So, I believe that everybody in this room, with the right mindset, the right skills, the right approach, can dominate this market and any market. Doesn't matter if it's up, sideways, down, backwards, doesn't matter. I spent the last 17 years of my career, I've sold 2,000 homes. I did 100 deals a year, 10 years in a row. I did 200 deals a year twice with 2 assistants and 2 buyer's agents, and 170 of those deals were mine, and they were all listings. Round of applause, please. Okay? So what we're going to do for the next 30, maybe 45 minutes is I'm going to go over with you and share with you what I share with coaching clients and people in my organization at EXP, Elite Builders, to teach them how to be productive in all environments, to have the right mindset, the right skills, and the right approach. Who's up for this? Say aye. Aye. Come on, guys. I need more energy than that. Who's up for this? Say aye. Aye. Okay, good. So if you want to set 1 appointment a day, because by the way, if you're having mindset issues right now, set 1 appointment a day and it'll solve it. You're having money problems right now? Set 1 appointment a day, it'll solve it. If you're considering driving Uber, set 1 appointment a day and it'll solve it. You notice that nervous laughter? Because someone's like, fuck, is he paying attention to me? Like, is he watching me? So, if we want to set 1 appointment a day, the first thing we have to do is a mindset. I prospect for appointments, not contacts. A lot of you guys are counting the amount of people that you're speaking to. I prospect specifically for appointments, not contacts. From an approach perspective, a lot of you guys lead from a place of authority, which is really lame. You're like, I don't know if you know, but I sold a home in your neighborhood, right? And I'm the queen of the falls. Did you know that? Can you imagine if you walked into the baker and they were like, hey, you're like, hey, can I get a bagel? They're like, I don't know if you know this, but I'm kind of a big deal. Okay, I make bagels all the time. What would you say to the baker?
Give me one for free.
Or you'd be like, I don't fucking care. Like, I just want a bagel. But this is how we lead, right? Are you familiar with the techniques that I use to sell homes? No. And I don't give a shit. Who is that focused on, by the way? You. And where does it come from? Insecurity. You're trying to prove yourself worthy. And it repels people. It pushes them away. Okay? Instead, hey, you know, my job's to help you. It's never to talk you into doing anything. I guess I'm curious. You live in a lovely neighborhood. I don't have to tell you that. Great school district. Was there any particular reason you were even considering selling? And then what are they going to do? And who is that about? Yeah, and I'm wondering, because again, like I'm not here to twist your arm at all. Is it an option for you to not sell the home and still move? Like maybe rent it out? I'm wondering, if you were still here 6 months from now and the home wasn't sold, what would that do for you and your family? Like, would that be an issue? I've only spoken to you. You seem to be really excited about selling. I'm noticing there's somebody else on title. How do they feel about it? Anybody besides me ever got really excited, ran on an appointment, talked to the wife, she's pumped, sit down, the husband's like this? And you realize in 5 minutes, they're not fucking doing anything. Whose fault was that? Because I didn't ask? Questions, right? I didn't find out what the situation was because I'm too focused on who? Me. Right? Find out how you can add value. What's the situation, right? Relationships plus value over time. Whoever adds more value wins. Because I don't know if you guys notice, we all do the same fucking thing. Oh, I have buyers in Venezuela. No, you don't. Don't do that. Hey, here's a little secret. You guys ready? We all use the same photographers. We all put it in MLS. Which actually sells it. How many people posted over the last year, we sold $30,000 above the asking price? Are you posting now? I had to lower it 6 times to sell it. Wait, let's get this straight. You were responsible for one but not the other? You know what the real truth is? Neither one of them had anything to do with you. It's market dynamics and conditions. Just ego, bro. It has nothing to do with what's true. And again, you can get whatever you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. Right. Focus on what's true for them. What are they trying to accomplish? Why is it important to them? right? So, I mean, you were kind enough to share with me that the main reason you want to sell the home is you want to move to Texas. I guess I'm curious. Let's say if you actually get the home sold and you move to Texas, what is that going to do for you and your family? How would your guys' life improve in some way? And they tell you, well, this, and this. Okay, and how important is that to you at this stage in your life? Do you see? Who is that about? Now imagine I'm speaking that way and everybody else is like, are you familiar with the techniques that I use to sell? Who are they going to talk to? Is it magic, by the way? No, it's just focus and intention. Does this make sense? Say aye. Aye. Again, does this make sense? Say aye. Aye. Good. The next thing is you got to role play constantly and consistently. Okay? How can you possibly get good at something that you don't practice all the time? Is that not immature? You really think you're going to walk into somebody's house and ask them to pay you 10, 15, 20, 30,000 fucking dollars and you don't practice every day? That's immature. It's actually ridiculous. Can you imagine you walked into the physician, the surgeon, and they're like, yeah, I'm just going to wing this shit. Right? Yeah, fuck it. Like, I feel like I know what I'm doing. Would you allow them to do that? Imagine you got on a plane with a pilot and like, yeah, it's the first time I've done this. I've done it enough. I'm just going to fucking wing it. I'm not going to look at the checklist. We laugh, but this is the shit that we do. You show up unprepared, late, dressed in flip-flops and yoga pants, and you're like, yeah, pay me 20,000 bucks. What are you doing? Do you realize that there's 20,000 agents in the multiple listing service? There's only 100 of them that do over 20 million in volume a year. That's it. 100. You have 100 people competing for 20,000 jobs. If that's what's true, which it is, what would your practice schedule look like if you actually wanted one of those jobs? You tell me how much money you want to make a year. If I follow you around and look at your practice schedule, do they match? Usually not. Just make, you notice energy in the room? Boo. Look, I'd love to be able to outsource push-ups to the Philippines and I get diesel. That'd be dope. At the beginning of my real estate career, I was selling real estate in Gainesville, Florida, which, if you've ever been there, outside of the university is a very sleepy, hollow town. Once you get outside the university, it's just cows and churches. Not as though there's anything wrong with cows and churches, but that's all there is. The broker that I decided to partner with at the time, they had a boot camp that you had to go through before they would let you in to the company. And it consisted of 2 weeks of sales training. You know, things like contacts equals contracts and making calls and things of that nature. And it culminated in a listing presentation that you actually had to give in front of all of the rest of the company. And they partnered you with another new agent. For those of you who may not know me, I am somebody who's very motivated by significance, and I'm also incredibly, disgustingly competitive, right? So I wanted to win. I wanted to be the absolute best of the whole presentation in front of the whole company, right? So I took it super seriously. And they told us to print out this information about like their listing presentation, their marketing thing and everything was like these pieces of paper. And they told us to go to Office Depot and to print it out and to get a flip chart so we could present it. And they gave us a script, right? So I dutifully went to Office Depot, printed it all out, got my flip chart, ready to rock, got my script, and I went home to my wife, Carla, and said, hey, we need to start role playing. Not that type of role play, but we need to start role playing, okay? And she's like, okay, cool. So we start practicing. And I'm diligently practicing, like, you know, all day, all night. And it comes the big day. It's time to present. So my partner is a all shucksy kind of guy, you know, like a grandpa-ish kind of guy. And he goes first, and it's embarrassing. He clearly did not prepare, okay? He was dressed in jeans and a t-shirt, okay? And he stumbled through the presentation. It was very clear that he didn't practice at all. Now I show up, I'm the only person wearing a suit. Now it's from the Dead Man collection, and let me explain what I mean by that. The first suit that I ever bought, I bought it in an estate sale because I had no money. And a guy died who happened to be my shape and size. So I'm going through the, I swear to God, it's a true story. Going through the closet at the estate sale, I look at my wife, I'm like, suit's pretty nice. Bought the suit for 20 bucks. Add a little pocket square there, let's go. So forever and ever, it'll always be from the Dead Man collection. First suit ever got, right? So I show up dressed fresh like $1 million, got my little pocket square in there, and now it's my turn to present. And because I had spent a lot of time doing what? And preparing, I was able to get through it. Now, it wasn't perfect, okay? Because I'd only spent, 48 hours practicing. But I took it really seriously. And in my mind, I was so worried and concerned, like, oh my God, what if he asked me how much my commission is? Anyone besides me have ever been worried or concerned about that? Yeah, more hands should be going up. What if they say, I've never heard of your company before? Anybody ever been worried about that? Yeah. Anybody on the way there, you're like, holy shit, I hope they don't ask me that. I hope they don't ask me that, right? It's happened to you before, right? So I'm all concerned, but like this guy didn't even prepare for the damn presentation. So he just doesn't ask me anything. So I'm like, whew, right? But I never forgot that. Because the money is not in the service. The money's in the selling of the service. And if you want to get paid like a professional, you need to practice like one. There is only, out of 20,000 agents in the multiple listing service, that is rapidly going down right now, by the way, guys. People are getting jobs driving Uber, working at restaurants, because when times get tough, only the skilled get paid. So there's, out of 20,000 agents in the multiple listing service, there's only 100 that do 20 million in volume, myself included. That's it. You have 20,000 people competing for 100 jobs. How would you practice if you were competing for one of those jobs?
Try to be the best.
Trying is a degree of effort that's accompanied by an excuse. If you really wanted to compete for one of those jobs, not just fuck around. Not just treat this like a vending machine that when you make a few bucks, you go to Costa Rica and post it on Instagram. So since that boot camp, I have spent 10,000 hours in role-playing practice. I've gone on thousands of listing appointments. And I've spent probably $400,000 and counting in my own personal growth and development, getting access to the best teachers, the best trainers, the best mentors. And now I no longer am at all concerned as to what somebody might say to me on a listing presentation. I no longer sweat on my way there. Oh my God, I hope they don't ask me that. And now I actually get paid to present and teach people how to present. And I really do believe, I truly do, that everybody in this room with the right blueprint, the right mindset, and the right skills, guys, you can list as many properties as I have, if not more. Right? I've spent the last 17 years of my career selling 2,000 properties. I know, you can raise your eyebrows, that's a lot. So, what we're going to do today is I'm going to go over with you the listing presentation. The exact presentation that I've used to list hundreds of properties a year. It's broken down into 3 separate sections. And then we're going to go over some frequently asked questions, common objections. So that way you're fully prepared. Guys, because when we go from 6 million transactions in a calendar year to a projected 3.8 million, that means there are more people competing for the same opportunities. And if you don't have a competitive advantage, don't compete, right? I'll tell you a real quick story. So I remember going on a listing appointment at the beginning of my career. It was somewhere in like Coral Springs. It was an expired listing. And I knew that they had 3 appointments scheduled that day, right? One at like 12, one at like 2, and then me at 3:15, 3:30. So I show up at 2:30 and I knock on the door. What do you think happened to that agent that was sitting there? Start shitting their pants. Owner comes out, pokes their head out. They say, oh, well, I'm sorry. We have an agent here. Would you mind waiting outside? I said, that's no big deal. I'll just wait in the living room. Are you that confident in your presentation? Then the guy leaves. I sit down. Husband looks at me. He's like, that was stone cold. And then he signed the listing agreement. So when times get tough, only the skilled get paid. We really need to dial this in. If there are less opportunities, I need to make sure there's no security in this business. There's only opportunities. So if I get my skills to such a degree that if I present, there's an 85% chance I'll earn the business, I've just created security for myself and my family. Who's up for this? Say aye. Aye. I'm sorry, we're in the wrong room. Who's up for this? Say aye. Aye. Good. According to the Association of Realtors, the average agent who goes on 100 listing presentations will only take 20 listings. Why do you think that is?
Not prepared.
Not prepared. They're like that grandpa guy, just going in there, yeah, winging it. Showing up with flip-flops and khakis. No presentation. They're like, oh my God, you have a puppy? I have a puppy. We should be best friends. If 20 listings, 15 sales, 150 grand a year. I don't know why you guys think this is a lot of money. Let's do the math on this. 150, you have taxes, don't you? Mm-hmm. About 50 grand. Now you got 100. You got business expenses, don't you? How much are those? 20, 30 grand? Now you're at 70. You got a rent or your mortgage payment, car payment. You want to take one nice trip a year. How much money's left over? Zero! And no government can help you with that. You have to earn your way out of it. So if I go on 100 listing appointments, I take 85. That's, oh my God, look at the difference. 80 listings, 70 sales, $700,000. Same appointments, same time. What's the difference? Skills, bro. Skills pay the bills. Skills pay the bills. Again, that key phrase, you want to get paid like a professional, you need to practice like one. Amateurs practice until they can get it right. Professionals practice until they can't get it wrong. I should be able to wake you up in the middle of the night and be like, bro, give me your listing presentation. And you're like, hi, my name is Aaron, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. And you just run right into it. Or I should be able to bump into you in the hallway and be like, hey, your commission's too high. No hesitation. Not like, ha, 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 oh, I'm not ready. Let me get back to YouTube and shit. Boom, you go right into it. Because guys, these conversations are worth 10, 15, 20,000 bucks. It's immature to not be prepared. There's 3 separate sections of the listing presentation. From the time you hit the door till the time you start to talk about price. Then there's the pricing portion of the listing presentation. Then there's handling objections and closing. Okay? It's a map. You just follow it. Now, I'm curious. Let's say you got on a plane and the pilot said, you know what? We're not going to go with the checklist today. We're just going to wing it. Would you get on that plane? No. Imagine you went to a surgeon. Surgeon has a checklist. They're like, you know what? We're just going to bypass the checklist today. I got this shit. I'm just going to wing it. Would you be okay with that? Why are you guys okay with going on listing presentations and winging it? It's the same thing, right? And people are going to say yes. It typically takes 7 no's before somebody says yes. And somebody's going to be in control. I want it to be me. So what do I mean by that? How do we incorporate this into the first section? So if you're taking notes, put like from the time I hit the door till the time I start to talk about price. Okay? From the time I hit the door, time I start talking about price. So the moment that you hit the door, all of this is crafted and scripted. So the first thing that I would remind you guys to do, because you're all serious and shit, is to smile when you knock on the door. I had to remind myself to do that. Because I used to be like, here to do business. Right? So you knock on the door, they open the door, you're like, hi, Aaron Novello, nice to meet you. Did you want me to take my shoes off? Why would I say that to them? Because I'm walking into their space. Just being respectful. And if they say yes, great, do it. I'm like, I didn't fucking want to do that, but fine. You know what I mean? But if they say, and don't have a hole in your sock, right? But if they say, no, that's cool, you're like, okay, great. What I'd like to do is take a quick look around the home. Would that be okay? Yes. Why am I doing that immediately? Nope. Taking control. Somebody's going to be in control. I want to be in control. Because if I let them be in control, there's going to be a little fucking dog running around. We're going to be sitting on the couch drinking tea like nothing's going to happen. Right? How many people say to me, sat in one of those couches, you're like fucking, yeah, it's a lovely home, yeah. Somebody's got to be in control. And they're like, no, that's cool. You can take a look around. Now what I want to start to do is I want to start to immediately start to close. You guys wait till the end to close. I don't know why. And remember, it takes 7 no's to get to 1 yes. So I want to get all those 7 in right away. So the first thing I'm going to say to them is like, well, you know, your home is really lovely, Chris. It's tastefully furnished. So I'm curious, when we have offers come in, are we going to be including the contents, or do you want to take that with you to your next destination?
Taking it with me.
Good. What just happened there? When who has offers come in? We have offers come in. It's called an assumptive close. Being assumptive is, yeah, I know. She was like, oh. An assumptive close, right? Being assumptive is a function of confidence, and confidence is a function of role play and practice. Okay? He's gonna be like, no, we want to take that with us. Okay, fantastic. And then he continues to show me through, and I'm like, yeah, you know, if I remember correctly, Chris, you were kind enough to share with me that you aren't planning on making any changes or modifications before I start to bring buyers through. You just want me to help you to sell it as it is, where it is. Is that right?
That's right.
What just happened? Close number 2. Right? You just want me to help you to sell it as it is, where it is, right? And it's subtle like this. Notice, as I'm doing this, you all guys start to do it. No, your head, even without you noticing. As I start to bob my head, you guys are like, yeah. Right? So 2 closes. Have we talked about commission? Have we talked about my fucking snazzy marketing plan? Which, by the way, is the same as everybody else's, but don't tell anybody. use the same photographers. Right? So then we've done those couple something closes, and now it's time to sit down. Again, you need to be in control. Okay, so what I like to do is like, we can go ahead and take a seat here at the kitchen table. Would that be all right? Because if you don't do that, you're gonna end up sitting on a little shitty couch somewhere, and it'll be awkward and weird. Okay? Now, in terms of where I wanna sit where I'm the center. I want the people to be sitting here, right? So if husband and wife, here, so I can direct to both of them. If I'm sitting across from you, what does that create? An adversarial position. And there's a border and a boundary between me and you. Okay. Make sense?
Never thought about that.
Of course. That's what I'm here for, bro.
Psychology.
Yeah. So I want to sit here at the end, and I have the people here. So I'm the direct center of attention. Right? Okay. Now, I will say, first and foremost, I just want to begin our time together, Fatima, just by saying thank you. Smiling again. For providing me the opportunity to share some information with you and potentially help you with the sale. I always like to begin these conversations just by asking a few quick questions to make sure we're on the same page. Would that be okay?
Yes.
Perfect. So the first question I have, which I'm pretty positive I know the answer to, based on what you shared with me on the phone before we connected, you guys have definitely decided that you're going to sell the home. You're not interested in like holding on to it or doing something else with it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Notice I said, would that be okay if I asked you questions? And she said, yes. I asked her another question. She said, yes. That's establishing a pattern of what? Yes. So, okay, great. And then that leads me to my second question, which I'm also pretty sure I know the answer to, is you guys want to position the property price-wise to sell. You definitely don't want to give it away. That's for sure. At the same time, you don't want to have it sit on the market for like 6 or 7 months just testing the market. Is that correct?
Yes.
She said yes 3 times in a row. I know. Shit's Jedi, right? And then that leads me to my third question. You know, I'm aware I sent you over some information in preparation for connecting. I'm sure you did some due diligence. You checked me out online. You saw track record and reviews. So have you and your family, have you guys already decided that you would like for me and my team to help you with the sale?
Yes.
Yeah. So, she couldn't even help it. Like as we're doing it, she's like, yes, yes. But what are we doing there? Look, 2 assumptive closes. Now I directly ask her if she's already decided to hire me yet. What do you guys do? Pick me, please. Look at all my cool shit. Let me prove to you how cool I am so you could pick me. And we could be buddies. You see? Now, you're either going to say, what are her options when I ask her that question, by the way?
Yes or no?
Or?
Maybe.
Maybe. Listen, I love yeses, I love nos, I hate maybes. Okay? What's up, team? How are you? Nice to see you. So I love yeses, I love nos, I hate maybes. But I'm cool with either one because now I know what direction to take. You see, if you don't do this and you don't do a close right up front, you don't know what the hell's going on. Mm-hmm. When you ask up front, they might be like, well, we're not sure yet, we're going to talk to
The other agent.
Good, now I know that. Isn't it better to know that now than to know it at the fucking end? 100%. If they say we're not sure, we want to think it over, cool, I know that. Right? But if I don't ask up front, I want to get it out of the way. So we've closed 3 times. Remember, it takes 7 closes before we get to a yes. Typically, on average. Unless it's like your mom's sister's cousin that wants to list the property, and then they just list it. So let's say she says no, directly, right to my face. I'm like, that's no problem. You know, I want you to make the decision that you feel is best. I want to be clear, that is my intention, Fatima. So provided that what I say makes sense and you feel comfortable and confident with me and my team, that we can help you get the most and do it quickly and efficiently, I have all of the appropriate paperwork with me, and I'm prepared to go to work for you today. Fair enough?
Yes.
Yeah. What happened there? She tried to tell me she's the boss. I'm like, no, you're not. Right? She's like, we're not going to do this. You know how many times people said, Aaron, I am not signing anything today. And I'm like, that's cute. I know you believe that that's true. One model is being a lean, mean listing machine. It's where all the leverage is, highly profitable. You keep 50+%. Live within your means, invest the difference. It'll work, it'll take 20 years. Second model is where you're an agent that is high in production and you try to create a team. The logic is leverage. The problem is that it's not that profitable. Because when it all shakes out, when you back